How are you doing, Thomas? Edgardo Viale from EPC. I wanted to know whether you had defined who would be the replacement for Adalberto Carrasquilla for this game against Bolivia, because he has been kind of the engine of Panama. How strong will his absence hit you? Well, good afternoon. We do know who's going to fill in for Cuco, and we also know how important he is for this national team. I believe that I'm always requesting everyone to be responsible, and he, as a midfielder, and since Aníbal Godoy is not here, he had an even more important responsibility, and now he's not going to be on the field. So I'm gonna have to give an opportunity to another player in this position, and I'm sure that the player I choose is going to be up to the challenge. Claro Sport, José Hernando Rodríguez, Coach Christiansen. I wanted to ask you if the game tomorrow will somehow reflect the work that you've been doing for so many years with Panama's national team. It's a golden opportunity to move to the quarterfinals, to move to the next phase that would somehow materialize all the work you've been doing. I believe that trying to show 4 years of work in only one match would not be fair, because you can play a good match or a bad match, but ultimately you need to look at the progress made, the consistency of the team, how they've been competing so far. But of course, if we win tomorrow, and if that win allows us to move on to the next phase, to the next round, that be one more step forward, right? But first, we need to win the match before we can talk about that. For Tomás David Peña from Tema de Deporte and Pan American. Yesterday, Darcenas was saying that this is one of the most important matches in the history of Panamanian soccer. Do you share with this idea? I mean, this possibility of making it to the next round. And Michaels, could you always share your own opinion on this? Is it one of the most important matches? Well, to me, without a doubt. Of course, we can make history if we move on to next round. And I fully agree with Joel in that regard. And this is our goal now. This is our top priority. Then, if you ask me, for instance, the last qualifier before the World Match, well, that will be the most important as well. But right now, today, in this tournament, this is our top priority. And particularly if we look back a little bit at the two matches we've had against Uruguay and the United States, and we still have a possibility of moving to the next round. Yeah, I agree with Joel and with the coach. So far, this is the most important match we've had because of this possibility of making history and moving to the quarterfinals in Copa America. Thomas, what do you think of the sanction against Carraquilla? Were you expecting a too much suspension? Do you think it's exaggerated? And have you been able to discuss with the player? And the second, how do you picture the game tomorrow? Because Bolivia has changed different tactical approaches in this tournament. So how do you imagine the game? And Amir, often you've been in control of the position. Did you feel better when Blackman was a little bit forward in the game against the United States? About Coco and the sanction, I would have liked it better if it were only just one match. We can argue, we can dispute it, challenge the decision, try to reduce it to a single match. I personally believe that one match would be more than reasonable, but it's the committee's decision, and that's the way it's been. And I have discussed it with them, the situation, the play. He never meant to hit the other player as strong as he hit him. He just wanted to stop that attack, that transition, in order to
Bueno,
spare us from
vamos
that
a ver
peril.
ahora con su reemplazo que lo haga lo mejor posible. Tenemos toda la
But
confianza
now,
depositada
when
en él
substituting
y bueno,
him,
el
we
partido de
have full
mañana
confidence in the replacement.
va a ser difícil.
And about tomorrow's match,
Enfrentaremos
of
a un
course, it's
equipo
going to be hard.
que en los últimos partidos ha
We
jugado
are up
parecido a
against
nosotros,
a
con
team
línea de
that has
5.
played similarly to the way we play, with a line of
Anteriormente a esos
five.
dos partidos han estado jugando con línea de 4,
And before that,
4-1-4-1,
they had been playing with a
4-4-2.
line of four, 4-1,
Han variado,
4-1,
pero bueno,
4-2-2.
que ya han iniciado la
And
Copa América con línea de 5,
I
ahora ha cambiado
believe that
y después de haber perdido
I've
el
already
primer partido,
started this
no
tournament.
sería
But
quizás
Bolivia
el único
changing
argumento
their approach
para cambiar, pero
after
bueno,
losing two
también
matches,
importante
maybe they
el hecho
have
de que
reasons to
han
change it.
manejado muchos cambios en estos dos
And they've also
partidos
had many
y siempre ha
substitutions
habido
in these two matches,
relativamente pronto por debajo en el marcador. Eso
and they've
les ha servido un poco seguir el plan
received a
de
goal very
entrenamiento.
early in the match, which has probably prevented them from implementing
No,
their
al final
strategy.
una decisión acertada del míster, ¿no? Porque
Well,
Blackman
in the
creo
end, I
que
believe
lleva
it's
mucho tiempo jugando esa
the
posición en
right
el equipo
decision by the
y
coach, because
pues
Blackman
a
has been
falta
playing in that
de José
position for a
Luis
very long time in his own team.
de no
And with
tener
the
un
absence of
referente
Jose Luis
en esa posición a este momento, pues creo
and
que ha sido
without
mejor
any other
decisión
player in that
porque al
position,
final
I
los dos
think
conocemos
it was the right
nuestro
call,
lado derecho, sea
because
en
the
ataque o en
both of
defensa, entonces
us
creo que por
know
ahí
our right,
se
both
notó
on the
muy bien en el
defense
partido pasado
and on the
y bueno, gracias a
offense.
Dios pudo
And I
marcarlo.
think it played out very well in the
Fernando.
last match, and
Yuri Mosquera, directivo
we
de
had the
fútbol y
goal
JR
too.
Deportes. Quería preguntarle a los dos,
Tigo
analizando un
Sports
poco
and
lo que pudiera
JM
ocurrir
Sports,
mañana
I
con
want to
una
ask you both.
posible
Has the
victoria de
team
Panamá.
analyzed what might
Posteriormente se
happen
complica si
tomorrow?
gana Estados
A
Unidos. ¿Lo ha
possible
analizado el profe
victory
o
for
su cuerpo
Panama,
técnico
the
entre los
complications if
jugadores
the
de
United
repente en ese
States
momento
win?
libre
Have you
confianza
analyzed it
en
with
ese
the
posible
teams in
escenario
your
que vamos
free
a tener
time?
mañana?
Have you been talking about that
Mira,
possible
yo lo
scenario?
primero, lo principal que pienso ahora
Well,
es en ganar el partido de la mejor manera,
right
consiguiendo
now, mostly I'm thinking of winning the
durante el
best
partido. Un
way that I
resultado
can.
a favor de un equipo que
And
necesitamos
if
meter un gol
we
o
have a
ganar o
positive
incluso
result and we
conseguimos
need to
empate,
score a
lo que
goal,
sea,
or we need to
pues
win,
vamos a
or there's a
plantearlo a partir
draw, we are
de que
going to
tengamos más
be
información, pero el planteamiento
making all
nuestro
necessary
sería
adjustments
ganar
as
el
we gain
partido,
more
conseguir los tres
information.
puntos
But we want to win
y bueno,
that
si
match, get
con seis
those three
puntos
points.
no
That's
tenemos
our
nada para
strategy.
beneficiarnos,
And
pues
if with
mala
six
suerte, pero por lo
points
menos
it's
hemos
not
hecho
sufficient to
lo que
move to the
teníamos que
next
hacer,
round,
que es
tough luck on
ganar
us.
el
But we've
partido,
done
pero
everything we
no
need
va a
to
ser
do,
nada
which is
fácil
to win the match. It's
y
not going
ellos
to be
también
easy,
están heridos, quieren cambiar
and they're also
esa racha
hurt,
de derrotas y irse con buen
and
sabor.
they also want to
Que
turn around
por supuesto
those two
que
defeats.
sabemos
Of course, we
nuestro
know
objetivo es ganar, es lo único que tenemos en mente y lo que
our
queremos
only
hacer.
objective
Entonces,
is
pues
to
a partir
win.
de
That's
ahí
the only thing
ya
that we're
veremos qué
thinking
pasa con el
about, the
partido
only
que
thing we talk
al
about.
final
And after that, we're going to see
ganándolo
what
pues
happens
nos asegura
with the
el
other
pase
two
a
teams.
la
But
otra ronda,
I
pero
believe that if we win,
Acá,
we
José
have
de
very high chances
Deporte
of qualifying to the
Panamá y
next
para
round.
unir,
ESPN, Thomas and
hablan
Amir.
de la historia, ¿no? De lo importante que es este partido para la historia.
You've talked about the
Estaba
history
haciendo
and
como un
how
análisis
important
sobre
this game
excitación,
is
porque
for the
viéndolo desde el
history.
otro lado
And I
estaba
was
viendo cómo
wondering,
surgió
how
el
do you
campeonato y
manage
después
this
a la hora
overexcitement? Because I
de
believe
alzarse a
that
celebrar lo de Timo
for the
Timón,
United States,
cómo se
that
puede
sort of
manejar
plays
eso de que sea
played against them if we think of what happened
frustración
with
suficiente para
Timothy
encarar el partido de
Ware.
manera correcta
So, how
sin
do we
perder
make sure
la
that we
base.
have enough
Bueno,
excitement to do
después de
it
la
right
última rueda de
without
prensa, justo
losing
después
your goal?
del partido de
After the
mañana, le
last
dije
press conference, after
que
the
necesitamos un par
match against the
de horas
United States, I said
de euforia,
that we need a couple of
de estar
hours
contentos, disfrutándolo,
of euphoria, of
pero ahora
enjoying the
eso ya
win.
bajó todo,
But
ya está todos los jugadores
now
y cuerpo técnico,
we are back
toda la
to
delegación
normal for the
mentalizados
players, for the
en lo
technical
difícil
team, and
y
our whole
complicado que va a ser el
delegation
partido de mañana,
is
que si no
already
estamos
focused on
al
tomorrow's game that is
100%,
going to be
pues
tough and difficult.
tocará
And if we are
sufrir.
not performing at
Por eso esa
100%,
es
it's going to be
mi
very
trabajo, mi
hard on
obligación,
us. So
preparar
that's
a
my
los jugadores
job, that's my
no
obligation
solamente físicamente, pero sino también mentalmente
to,
de cara a
and
este
for the
partido.
players, this is quite a
eh,
challenge, not only
nada,
physically,
yo
but
creo
also
que
mentally.
todos mis compañeros están de acuerdo conmigo que
I
la
believe that
única
every one
partida de
of
Estados
my
Unidos, nosotros tenemos la
mates
oportunidad
agreed
y nuestro único
that
objetivo
now
es
that we are
obviamente
past the United States,
cada uno
our only
pensando
objective,
y
our sole
consciente de la
priority is to win
oportunidad que
tomorrow's
tenemos.
match. Every one of us is completely aware of the great
Buenas
opportunity
tardes,
before
César
us.
López de la agencia France Press.
Coach, good afternoon. Cesar
Profesor,
Lopez
yo
from
quisiera
France
saber
Press.
por qué no debe
I would like to
considerarse lo de
know
Panamá como una sorpresa, más cuando en
why
Sudamérica
Panama is not to be
únicamente se habla de
considered
Estados Unidos,
Cinderella,
México,
particularly
México,
when in
Canadá
South America
y algunos equipos
they
de la
were only
CONCACAF.
talking about
Bueno,
Mexico,
lo
Canada,
bueno es
and
que
the
Panamá se ha
United
metido
States as
en el mapa
CONCACAF. Well, the
futbolístico.
good thing is Panama is
Todos
now
sabemos dónde está
on the
Panamá.
soccer map. Everyone knows where Panama
En el
is on
ámbito
the geographical
deportivo,
map,
creo
actually.
que
But
de
from a
la pregunta
sports
de los 3 4 años
perspective,
que hemos ido trabajando y
after that
evolucionando,
question of
pues
3 4 years that we've been
hemos
working and
dejado a Panamá
evolving,
en ese mapa y
now
mañana
we can
pues
say that
tenemos
Panama is
todavía
on
más
the
porcentaje
sports map
que
as well.
que conozca el país, su
And
equipo
our
y
objective for
sobre
tomorrow
todo
is for
en
everyone to
estos
know what
200
Panama is
minutos
capable
de
of, and
competición
particularly for Panamanians
y
that
ser
are so
panameños.
proud of their team, and we want them to feel proud of being
Claro.
Panamanians.
Para Amir y para el profe. Para Amir,
For Amir and for the
primeramente una
coach. For
valoración
Amir,
de tus dos
could you
designaciones en el
please
equipo de las jornadas. En las dos fechas ha estado.
tell
Eso por un
us?
lado. Y si nos puedes hablar
Well, you've been starter
qué,
in both
qué tanto se
teams, right?
trabajó Fariña
And
en el juego,
how
qué tanto
much do you talk with
lo ayuda,
Fariña
lo
during the
busca, porque
game?
creo que
How
por
much
ahí
do
un poquito
you
la
assist
revelación,
him,
¿no? Que hay
help
mucha luz en el
him?
tema ese defensivo y
Because
para
I
el
believe
equipo de
that
esa misma línea
he's
su
quite
valoración del
a
tema defensivo, que
revelation in
esa
this
nuestra
tournament.
preocupación por las
And
lesiones que
for the
siempre se
coach,
dieron
the
y la
defense
evaluación de
was
cómo se está
sort of a
comportando
concern
esa
for
línea
us because of
defensiva.
the injured players. What do you think of the defense performance
Al
so
final
far?
creo que obviamente tengo que darle gracias a mis
In the
compañeros que
end,
me han ayudado
of
en
course, I
todos
need
estos
to
2 años
thank
que están pasando conmigo
my
a nivel individual, porque
fellow
sin ellos no hubiera
players
logrado lo
because
que
they've
conseguí
been
hasta
of
ahora.
great
Y
help.
el tema de Fariña, en
Because
verdad lo cubre
without
todos
their
los
help,
días.
I
Todos
haven't
los días
be here
intento
today.
ayudarlo,
And
intento
with
ver
Fariña, I try to help him every single
yo
day.
con
I
un
try to
poco
make
de
sure
experiencia
that,
que tengo, pues
well, I have a little bit more
hacerle saber de que
experience
siempre
than he
tiene el respaldo
has,
de todos los
so
compañeros
I can
y que me da
actually
confianza siempre que
try to
vamos a
convey to
estar por ahí
him the
siempre, aunque
support of all
en
the soccer
momentos se
players, the
equivoque,
whole
que es normal,
team,
que todos al
even if
final
he
nos
makes a
equivocamos y que tenga
mistake,
confianza
because I
siempre.
mean, everyone makes mistakes,
Bueno, a
so
pesar
we want
de
him
las
to feel
bajas que hemos
confident.
tenido en defensa, importantes
Despite the
bajas,
injuries that we've had in our
nos han ido muy
defense,
bien los
significant
partidos amistosos que hemos tenido en España
injured
contra la
players,
selección española y
we've
la
done
gallega
well
para
in
darles
some of
minutos, para
the
trabajar con la selección, para poder
friendlies
trabajar
we
con ellos.
played in
Fueron bastantes
Spain to have
días
more
a la
minutes
vuelta,
and
han
to be
seguido
able
con
to play with
nosotros
them. And then
y
when
yo
we
creo que han ido
returned,
creciendo
they've stayed
con
with
los
us.
partidos, con la
And I believe that they've
responsabilidad
been
en estos
growing match
partidos,
after match
sobre
with
todo
their
estos 2 últimos partidos en
responsibilities.
la Copa América,
These are the
ha
two
sido
last
duro para
matches
ellos,
in Copa America.
un
It's
examen
been tough on
muy grande,
them,
porque se han enfrentado a
quite a
grandes jugadores
significant
rápidos,
test
potentes
because they've been up to fast, powerful
y de
players
mucha calidad. Entonces,
and with lots of
mañana
quality.
creo
So
que el equipo
tomorrow,
pues tiene que cumplir,
no
tiene
matter
que seguir
who
esa evolución
plays, who's on the pitch,
y,
they will need to
y
continue with
olvidarse un
this
poco de lo
evolution
bien que han
and they
arrancado,
will need to
ser
forget
humilde
how well they
y
performed so
centrarse
far
en
so
lo
that
que
they
han
can be
conseguido, porque la verdad es
humble
que tiene
and
mérito
not to think of their
lo que han
accomplishments
hecho en estos
because
2 partidos.
although there's merit to everything
Profesor,
they've
hola.
done in these two
Soy
matches,
Gina
they still
Valdivieso
have
de
a long way
Agencia
to
EFE.
go. Gina Valdivieso from
¿Qué significa no ganar
EFE,
matches? Lo obvio, ¿no?
Agencia EFE.
Que es un partido decisivo. ¿Qué
So,
significa
despite the obvious, this is a
para Panamá
decisive
enfrentarse con
match.
Bolivia
How much
nuevamente
does it
en la Copa
mean
América, teniendo en
to
cuenta que es su
Panama
debut
to take on
en el
Bolivia once
2016?
again
También
in
frente a
Copa
Bolivia
America,
hizo con un
considering that the
triunfo.
debut in
Y
2016
por otro
was
lado,
with
pues
a
viendo también el
victory
historial que tiene
against
ambas
Bolivia and
selecciones
also looking at
que
the
se
track
enfrentaron. En
record
este
of
momento la
both
balanza se inclina a favor de Panamá
mm,
en cuanto a las
national
victorias.
teams. And right now, it
Sí,
would
a ver,
appear that you have
bueno,
more
las
wins than they
estadísticas,
do.
lo justo, yo creo que no podemos
Well,
vivir del pasado,
I believe that we
tenemos que vivir del
cannot
presente y el
live on the
presente ahora
past. We
dice
need
que
to
estamos
focus on the
en un buen
present.
momento
And our
y
present says
que
that we are
mañana
currently
tenemos
going
que
through a very
intentar
good
por todos
time.
los medios
And
ganar a
tomorrow,
Bolivia
we need to
para
do
colocarse
everything
o tener más opciones de pasar a la siguiente
we
ronda.
can in
Y como
order
he
to
dicho,
beat
pues
Bolivia and
con
make it to the
respeto
next round, have
hacia,
more
hacia
comfortably, if you will,
pues,
with the
nuestro
utmost
adversario,
respect for
pero
our
nosotros
opponent.
con con esta oportunidad o gran oportunidad que tenemos de pasar
with
de
this
ronda,
big
no lo podemos dejar
opportunity
atrás
of
y
moving to the
todo el
next
mundo tiene que
round,
salir como si fuera el
we need
último
to make
partido, si fuera
sure
el partido clave para meternos
that
en un
everyone
mundial.
plays as if
Así se
this
lo
were
tenemos
a
que
must-win
transmitir y así tenemos
match,
que
as
convencer.
if it were the last qualifier in order to make it to the World Cup. This is what we need to convey to them. Unlike other games, this time you are going to play in a pitch that is made for soccer, thought for soccer, and there was an official game yesterday. You've just seen the pitch, and what are the keys to the game? Are we going to see any changes in the starters? It's okay for you to ask just in case, but well, you know what my response is going to be to that. You'll have to wait until tomorrow in order to find out the lineup. Yesterday we saw it on TV and it didn't look that well actually. Now we stepped on it and they played yesterday and it needs a little bit of work, but they said that now in the afternoon they were going to do something and mow it and paint it, so it's going to be looking nice for the game. Now, as for the lineup, we need to be effective, especially effective, particularly considering we need to seize every single opportunity. We need to make as few mistakes as possible, particularly with the defense, which was something hard for us in previous games. And we cannot afford to lose the ball in dangerous areas against Bolivia. Thomas, yesterday, Joel was saying that he was the first to criticize himself, that he had not done his best against the United States. Why is it that we hadn't seen Bárcenas more involved in the game? Do you think that the long injury he had is affecting him? Because although he assists Davis a lot, we haven't seen the best of him in these two matches. I believe that that self-criticism has to do with the game against Uruguay. In that game, we saw that he was not the usual Joel, not in the numbers, not in the game, not in the work that he's always doing for his work. I don't think it was up to what he can deliver against the United States. I have no complaints. But if he's done it himself, I love it because I want every single player to be able to be critical of their own performance, have that ambition, and keep on working to improve. I only wish everyone had that ability to try to find all the whys when they have not played their best. But against the United States, I don't think that he deserved any criticism. Probably it was against Uruguay that he wasn't up to his best. So for Amir and for the coach, Amir, here the press, the media has said that depending on the opponent, the team is fully focused, concentrated, not making any mistake. And sometimes when the opponent is not so strong, they look a little bit more laid back and they are not so clear in the way they play as when they play against a powerful opponent. If that were the case, how are you thinking of that looking at tomorrow's game? And Thomas, Ismael Diaz, is he now 100% recovered? Does he still have any problems? Do we know a little bit more about this soccer
tema
player?
Guardiola, yo creo que al final pasa
Well,
un poco por
what you said,
de que
I believe that sometimes that's due
nos
to
creemos un poco más que el
anxiousness.
equipo al que nos vamos a enfrentar
Sometimes
y eso pues mañana
we
seguro que no
underestimate
pasará
the
porque al
team
final
we're playing
Bolivia es un
against.
equipo que
That's
compite
not
con
going to
la
happen
América.
tomorrow because
Nosotros
Bolivia
competimos con
is a
CONCACAF
team that
y
competes in
sabemos la
South
distancia que
America.
tenemos con los
We
de
compete
América,
in
entonces
CONCACAF, and we are very much
eso
aware of the
pues mañana
of the
no
gap
creo que
with
pase.
South American teams. So I don't think that's going to be the case tomorrow.
¿Y la pregunta?
And what was the question? Ismael Diaz.
siempre tiene alguna molestia,
Yeah,
pero está
yeah,
para competir.
he still
En ese
has some
sentido no
discomfort,
hay
but I believe
ningún
that
problema.
he's
Siempre
ready to play.
hace sus trabajos previos
He's always
como
doing his
siempre ha
own
hecho y
individual
está
work
disponible
as
al
he's always
100%.
done, and he's
Por acá.
100%
Fue
ready to
una
play.
concentración bastante larga. Quería preguntarle y que nos hable un poco
Quite a long
cómo
concentration. Could
los ha
you
visto
tell
los
us a
últimos
little bit
días.
about the
Por ejemplo,
group,
hoy a
how
los medios
you've
nos dio la
seen it
sensación de un
over the
equipo
last few
mucho
days?
más
Because
tranquilo,
today, for
mucho más
instance, the
relajado,
media found that
contrario
it
a lo
was
que
a
vimos
much more
en ese
relaxed
partido ante la
team,
selección de Uruguay.
much
Obviamente por el
calmer.
resultado estaban un poco más presionados. Pero quiero que nos hable
Very
un poco del
different
grupo,
from what we saw
cómo está
against
el grupo.
Uruguay, regardless of the result.
Bueno, yo
But how do you
creo
see
que, bueno,
the group, the
internamente,
team?
lo que nos queda dentro,
Internally,
ha habido momentos muy buenos y momentos
there
muy
have
malos,
been very good times and
pero
very
ya
bad
los hemos
times.
gestionado y
But
ya saben
everything is well now.
a lo que hemos venido, ya están
They
enfocados
know what our
y ya está.
objective here is. They are
Pero sí, han sido
focused,
muchos días,
and that's
hay
it.
muchas
But yeah, it has
cosas
been
a
long.
tener en cuenta. Primero también el viaje
And
a
there are
España,
many
que
things
muchos de ellos
requiring
estuvieron
consideration. First,
ahí,
the trip
se
to
alargó con las
Spain, many of them
eliminatorias,
were
el partido
there,
amistoso
got
contra
longer
Panamá,
than with the
ahora
qualifiers and the
la
friendly
Copa América
against Paraguay,
y
and
esperemos que
now
siga
Copa
todavía una vez
America.
tengamos el vuelo el día 2
And
de
well, we're
Panamá,
only hoping we don't need to fly
que
home to
sigan
Panama on the
preparándose
2nd, and that we
Estados
can
Unidos,
actually continue
pero
with our
sí que
trip throughout the
se hace
United
largo,
States.
tienes que
But
buscar
you're right,
momentos
it's long, and
como el
you really need
desplazamiento
to
de esta mañana,
find
ese trabajo
the time, like for
de Cristian Bleguer,
instance,
el médico, que
tomorrow's
estuvo
training
muy
with
bien, un poco
Christian Bleggers,
para sacar
um,
la
playful
risa un poco
work
a
that
los
we
jugadores.
did, and then
Pero luego después
managed
de
to
eso,
get
pues
many of our
enfocarse otra
players
vez en lo
to
que es
laugh.
realmente
But after
importante
that,
para
we need to
nosotros,
go
el
back
trabajo
to
táctico
focusing
de
on
cara
our
al
objectives, which is
partido
tactical
de
team,
Bolivia.
looking at
La
Bolivia's
verdad,
game.
esencia ha cambiado para Michael y Tomás en cuanto al
I
partido
believe that
de
for
Panamá frente a la selección
Michael
de Bolivia.
and
Muchos panameños
Thomas,
están creyendo
considering tomorrow's
en la
game,
posibilidad
many
de Panamá poder
Panamanians
conseguir esa clasificación a los cuartos de final. Ese
believe that
mensaje
Panama can make it to the
positivo de Panamá
quarterfinals.
para
So
con
that
todo
positive
aspirar a
message,
conseguir esa clasificación,
but
¿verdad?
that Panama is going
Dependiendo de
to
los resultados
go
para
for
clasificarse
that
para
qualification
Michael.
tomorrow, and depending on
Es
the
normal
result.
que después de un partido contra Estados
It's only
Unidos,
normal
pues
that after a
haya
match that
esa
we've
afición
won against the
con
United
una opción
States
de
to the
clasificarse,
host,
que la euforia
now that we
sea
have
muy
these
alta y las
possibilities,
ganas
it's
de pasar
only natural
estén
that
en otro
everyone
lugar.
will
Sabemos
see
cómo
euphoria rise in Panama
esta
regarding
semana
our
estamos
qualification.
pues
We know how
los
everyone feels
dioses y
when we
cuando
win.
perdemos,
When
bueno,
we win, we are
vamos a
gods, and when
entrar
we
en el
lose,
país,
well,
pero eso es parte
they will
de la
almost
competición,
prevent
ganar
us
los partidos
from
como puedes
entering back the country, but that's
y
part of our
igualmente se
job. We
disfruta.
know the way it
Si no
works,
hubiera
and we
opiniones,
still enjoy it. I
no
mean,
había debate ni nada.
if there were
Y
no
a
opposite
seguir
opinions, there would
con lo
not be
nuestro, que
debate,
es
no discussions.
prepararnos para el partido de
So
mañana y esperar
we'll keep on working on our function
Bueno,
and wait for
esperemos,
tomorrow's game.
ok.
Coach,
Esperemos que la gente nos siga apoyando, en verdad
well, I can only hope
nosotros
that
pues
people will continue to
siempre
support
tratamos de dar
us
lo mejor de nosotros y en verdad que
because
lo
we're
hacemos todo bien,
always giving our
porque darle
best.
siempre
And
alegría a
it's
nuestro país
really
y siempre
comforting
representarlo de la
when
manera
we
que
can
podamos
offer some
que
joy
mañana
to
va a
our
ser
country and
nuestro día.
represent them the way we're representing them.
Ahora
And
sí, coach
tomorrow is
Thomas,
going to be
muchas
no
gracias.
exception.
Muchas felicidades.
Now, Coach Thomas, Amir, thank you very much.